Join me in this video too. So this new version of the Valeria dress. This is the perfect opportunity to see how sleeves would look on this type of dress, which originally has spaghetti straps. To sew a sleeve onto this type of dress, you need to have elastic at the shoulder. As I mentioned, the pattern I'm going to use to sew this dress is the Valeria dress pattern. For this model, I'm going to go for a mini length again. And to create the sleeve, I'll use this sleeve pattern from our sleeve pack too. I'm simply going to omit the cuff and finish it with elastic at both the shoulder and the hem. For this model, I've opted for a red satin crepe. I want the sleeves and side panels of the skirt to have movement, but since I need the bodice to be fitted, I'm going to interface it. When cutting, I always like to start with the largest pieces, so I'm cutting the side panels first. That way, I can use the leftover fabric to cut the smaller pieces. This time, I'm going to use non-fusible interfacing, a cotton poplin, but if you feel more comfortable working with fusible interfacing, that's fine too. In any case, let me tell you that this dress does not generally need to be interfaced. In fact, neither of our two cotton gingham models have interfacing. I simply think it's suitable for this particular fabric. In the video description, I'll leave several links to our blog with sewing techniques that can help you sew the dress. One of them is about adding non-fusible interfacing. I have my pieces ready, so let's start sewing. How about we take a look at all the pieces together? These are the original pattern pieces. And yes, you've noticed that the sleeves are missing, so let's cut them out. I'm using the pattern piece I mentioned at the beginning of the video. But I was a little short on fabric, so I shortened it by about 14 centimeters. Before we start, let's measure the armhole on the front and back of the bodice to mark the notches on the sleeve armhole and know that from those notches onwards, the sleeve has to be elasticated because it will no longer be sewn to the bodice. This is the only adjustment or check you need to make when adding a sleeve to this type of dress. we can start sewing. We'll begin by joining all the bodice panels. Starting with the hip pieces and the front and back side panels, we'll place the pieces right sides together and make a stitching along the seam allowance. We'll press the seam open. Next, I'm going to sew the 2 center front pieces along the vertical seam. In case you're wondering, you could remove this seam and cut the piece on fold. On the back, we will sew the side panel piece with the center back piece. It's important to pay attention to all the notches and mark the corners well to make it easier to match them up when sewing. We repeat the same process with the front side panel and center front piece. Since the side panel has a curved shape, we will adapt the center front piece to that shape using all the notches and marks on the corners. I have to tell you, to get a good shape in the chest, it is essential to press the side panels with a sewing ham. We'll sew the front and back together at the center front seams. At this stage, with the bodice already sewn together, we would sew the sleeves. And don't worry, I haven't skipped anything. We're going to sew them now. We're going to create a track with bias tape at the top of the sleeve head so that we can insert the elastic later. The bias tape has to be sewn from the front notch to the back notch. After making the first straight stitching right sides together, fold the tape outwards, as I am doing here. Then sew an edge stitching along the tape. And we will fold the tape back inside the garment, creating a hem. The tape can be about 3.5 centimeters wide, so that once it is fully folded, we can insert a 1 centimeter or 1.5 centimeters elastic band. We will secure the hem with another stitching. At the ends of the track, where the notches were, we will go over the previous notch to make it deeper. We'll go right up to the stitching so we can pull the fabric out. We'll sew the side seam of the sleeve. You can use a serged seam or a French seam, whichever finish you prefer. And again, we will use bias tape around the entire contour of the hem to create a track in which to insert another elastic band. Just repeat the same steps we did on the sleeve head. At the juncture of the 2 ends of the tape, we will leave that space unsewn. This gives us the perfect place to insert the elastic. We'll pass the elastic through with the help of a safety pin. Since I want this sleeve to fit above my elbow, I have measured my contour in that area. Personally, I don't like elastic bands to be too tight, just enough so that it doesn't slip down. After passing the elastic completely through, we will sew the two ends together, using a strong stitching so that it can't come undone, and we'll put it back inside the track. Now, the sleeve is sewn, and we're going to sew it to the armpit area of the dress. Mark the seam line at the corners of the armhole of the dress to make a good matching exercise. These points will match the notches on the sleeve, while we match the curved contour of the armhole. After the stitching on the seam allowance, we can clip the curved contour. Now we are going to insert the elastic into the shoulder. I like to insert the elastic and try on the dress now that we have the bodice sewn to see if the fit is right and adjust the length of the elastic band as needed. Once we have the right length, we will make a stitching at each end to secure the elastic band. Now, set the dress aside and prepare the side panels of the skirt. You will find 2 notches. We have to start gathering from the top notch. We will gather from notch to notch. That was easy. We will set these pieces aside and move on to cutting the lining. The lining pieces in this pattern are exactly the same as those for the outer dress, with the only difference being that the center front and center back pieces are a little shorter. But this is marked on the pattern itself. To sew the lining, we will follow exactly the same steps as we did to sew the outer dress. And at the hem, we will fold 1 centimeter or 1.5 centimeters toward the inside of the garment. Place the lining right sides together with the outer dress to match the entire neckline, from one side of the center back through the front to the other side of the center back. Note that the sleeves will be inserted between the lining and the outer dress. It may be a little difficult to hold that area, but it can be done perfectly. We will make a stitching around the entire contour of the neckline. In the armhole segment, go over the stitching you did earlier to sew the sleeve. Clip the curved neckline and trim the fabric at the corners. You can also trim the fabric at the armholes. Turn the garment inside out, and I recommend understitching the neckline. It's not necessary at the armhole. Carefully, and making sure that the lining does not sag, we are going to hold the outer fabric and the lining along the entire curve of the hip, because we will sew the 2 layers of fabric together at the same time with the side panel. I find it easier to have these 2 fabrics held together with a basting rather than pins when joining and sewing the side piece. We will sew the invisible zipper in the center back. To sew it, we will set the lining aside. If you are not familiar with sewing invisible zippers, don't worry, because I will leave a link in the video description. After sewing the zipper, we will use the lining to pocket and finish the entire center back line. We'll pin the entire contour and then finish this segment by hand. Again, I am leaving the side pieces to sew at the end because at this point, you can try on the dress again and see if you need to make any adjustments, if the lining fits well, or if it is saggy in any areas. Sew the side piece of the skirt, bring all the gathering to the top. It should be located on the 2 notches marked on the dress. Place both pieces right sides together and sew along the seam allowance. You can finish this seam with a zigzag stitch or a bias binding. The dress is finished except for the hem. And here I confess that I would have done things differently. In the end, I made a bias-bound hem, but I think it would have been better to make a 3mm narrow hem with the fabric itself. Anyways, that's up to you. The dress is finished, and now you can enjoy a Valeria dress with sleeves.